What's up, sports bettors? We are going through the best NBA bets for Game 4 of Mavs vs. Warriors. Game 4, May 24th in Dallas. Do the Mavericks even stand a chance? And according to betting markets, they definitely do not. So this series is all but over according to sportsbooks. The Warriors are minus 10,000 to win the Western Conference. The Mavs are plus 3,100 offered to win the Western Conference. Mavs would have to win 4 games in a row against the Golden State Warriors. Curry, Thompson, probably not going to happen, but that doesn't mean this game will not be fun to bet on. So if we go ahead and we actually look at the money line odds, you can see this game is projected to be very close. Game 3 in Dallas, the Mavericks were roughly minus 140 fair odds going into the game. The Warriors were plus 140 dogs. And obviously, again, the Warriors pulled off the upset in Game 3. So the Mavs are very slight favorites, like a 50.5% implied win probability. DraftKings has the Warriors and the Mavericks the exact same odds, so hopefully it should be a good game. But what we are going to be going through is the best player prop bets, and there's one player prop I really like for today. So sportsbooks have already started to post odds for this NBA game on May 24th, and I found a player prop pick that I really like, and it's Brunson under 1.5 made threes, plus 108 odds on FanDuel. So Brunson averages what we can do is we can go to all stats. He averages 1.2 threes per game throughout the previous season as well as the current season. So being able to get, under 1.5 made threes at plus 108 odds when every other sportsbook is giving you, minus odds, right? Seems pretty good. We're getting plus money on FanDuel. FanDuel's the only sportsbook giving us plus money, right? Most sportsbooks have Brunson over 1.5 made threes, very slightly favored, but plus 108 is positive EV to basically every single sportsbook, right? So DraftKings, it's roughly even. So what we can do is we can figure out the profit margin of our bet, which is 2.74%. Brunson under 1.5 made threes, and we can go ahead and lock it in. So this bet seems great. Seems like great value, so we're going to go to player threes. This is a mathematically profitable, positive EV bet. We'll run through the math of our bet, but first things first, let's lock it in, right? Great bets don't last forever. You got to move quick. Try to bet 250 on it. FanDuel's like, yo, you've made way too much money off us. We'll give you 185.20, and it's like, okay, I'll take that. So 185.20 for this game on Tuesday. Mavs Warriors game 4. This is the first bet I am locking in on FanDuel. And again, on OddsJam, which is constantly scanning all of the player props, right? Player threes, player assists, everything for you to try to find you value as a sports bettor. I mean, just look at all the odds. OddsJam is constantly processing millions of odds every 10 seconds, updating odds in roughly every 5 seconds to try to find you the value as a sports bettor. And Brunson under 1.5 made threes is currently the highest positive expected value bet for the Mavericks Warriors game with a 2.74% profit margin. So we got 185.20, I believe, on FanDuel on this bet. 2.74% profit margin. So the EV of our bet, or our edge as a sports bettor, is 507 quantified in dollars, right? It's just our profit margin or our EV percentage multiplied by our stake, right? 2.74% profit margin on 185 staked is $5 in EV. So this is a mathematically profitable bet for tomorrow, and it should be pretty clear just looking at the odds, right? Pinnacle minus 118, minus 112. So if we remove the juice from their market with a zero vig odds calculator, we can see that the fair line is plus 102.5. And again, we're getting plus 108 on FanDuel. So this is a positive EV bet, right? The odds that we are getting on FanDuel beats the zero vig odds from Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest sportsbook in the world. And you can do the same thing with other books too, right? Like DraftKings has it minus 115, minus 110. So if you want to figure out what is DraftKings model implies is the fair price, it would be minus 102 on the over 1.5 made threes, which is very slightly juiced on DraftKings, and plus 102 on the under 1.5 made threes for Brunson, and these would be the implied win percentages, right? So essentially the way DraftKings works, right, is they have a model that spits out a win probability for Brunson to have over 1.5 made threes, 50.52%, which means Brunson under 1.5 made threes equal and opposite would be 49.48%. Then the sportsbook takes this zero vig odd, right? The fair odds, it goes to an odds converter calculator and converts it to a zero vig line, minus 102, right? So DraftKings thinks minus 102 is the fair price for the over, and plus 102 is the fair price for the under. And then you go back to a no vig odds calculator. So minus 115, minus 110, that was the market on DraftKings. So this is what they think is the fair price. And then they bake in their juice. They bake in their vig, right? That's how sportsbooks make money. So OddsJam is constantly scanning all of these lines for you as a sports bettor to try to find you the value, those few line discrepancies, those few bets that are actually mathematically profitable. And what we ended up going with for tomorrow is Brunson under 1.5 made threes plus 108 on FanDuel. So we can add this bet to my bet tracker. So I'll reload the plus EV page. We can add this bet to our OddsJam bet tracker. So right here, you just click that little plus button, add it to my bet tracker, and then I will save it. So again, the OddsJam bet tracker is free, and it's cool for a bunch of reasons. I mean, first of all, it shows you your profit and loss as a sports bettor, so it'll automatically grade your bets as wins and losses. It'll show you your ROI, your profit by sportsbook, your profit by week, everything like that, as well as your beat CLV percentage, right? So you need to be beating the closing line consistently to make money as a sports bettor. And the best way to do that, of course, is to place positive EV bets. If you are not beating the closing line over 50% of the time, then you will not make money as a sports bettor. You need to beat the closing line. So what I like to do is just kind of, look through my bet tracker at the end of every day and just kind of see, okay, am I getting better odds than the closing line? And typically, it's not always possible. Some bets will go against you. Some bets will win. Some bets will lose, right? But you want to be beating the closing line more often than not, right? That's the only way to have a positive net profit. So I was on the Astros minus 2.5, plus 172. The zero vig odds at the time the market closed was plus 165. Max Strus under 3.5 rebounds, plus 115. The zero vig closing odds were plus 108, right? So you want to consistently beat the closing odds. So anyways, bet for tomorrow, Jalen Brunson, under 1.5 made threes. Mavs Warriors projected to be a very close game. Constantly be checking OddsJam. I'm sure will be a ton of good bets. Mavs are very slight favorites. And let's make some money betting on the NBA tomorrow.